It's almost election day, and I think most Americans are dumbfounded by our choices of candidates. We have over 330 million people in our country, but we have only two choices. And I suspect most people wish we had other candidates to choose from. One candidate, people either love him or hate him, even those in his own party. I'm not sure it's wise to have a president who divides the country like this. The other candidate was selected by the party, not the people. She didn't face any voters in a primary. She's being promoted with a lot of hype, but nobody's allowed to look at her with any real scrutiny. She's essentially an unknown to most voters, except for some scripted sound bites and the fact that she's a woman of color. The whole process is flawed. We rely on monetary contributions, and that allows people to buy influence. The money buys ads that can easily mislead voters by their choice of short snippets from a speech and brief images without context. The solution is simple if people really want to change this. Let each party draw up a list of candidates, no more than 8. Let them have at least 3 debates where they will all answer the same questions. Let each candidate have their own websites where they explain their positions on the issues. Polls can be taken as to what are the important issues, but there should be at least 10 to 12. Then have one primary vote on one day. Since there will be a lot of candidates, let voters vote for however many candidates they want. That is the only way to know who has the most support apart from having endless runoffs. All the parties should have their vote on the same day too. The winners of the primaries would be required to do at least 3 debates. They'd all be asked the same questions. If the candidate starts off in some tangent, mute their mic, know that they did not answer the question, and go on. The parties can issue their platforms, but the candidates need to do the same for themselves, spelling out what they want to do, what they believe to be important, and what their priorities are. Televised interviews would be good. Again, let them answer the same questions. Campaign contributions from any person or entity would be limited to a modest amount. The goal is to eliminate the need for any contributions at all. In an information age, we don't need candidates flying all over the country to hold rallies. And we shouldn't have slick televised campaign ads paid for by people trying to buy favors from the candidates. There also needs to be options for independent candidates. I'm going to go really bold here. There can be 2 tracks, one for seasoned politicians, congressional people, governors, and mayors, and one for people entirely out of the public eye. For the seasoned candidates, there will probably be a large field to choose from. We should winnow it down to 8. How? The parties can set up sites throughout the country. The candidates will get a computer and a list of questions and policies and priorities. Give them an hour or 2 to answer. All the work will be known by numbers. No names shall be known until the papers are judged and rated. The top 8 shall advance. All papers will then be reunited with their names and made public. There will be 3 debates, everyone answering the same questions. If certain networks lean left, then you need to debate from one that leans right. If they go off avoiding a direct answer, mute their mic, note that they did not answer the question, and move on. Each should have their own websites where they explain their positions in the top 15 issues of the day. I would also support a television campaign. Who wants to be president? Not ads, but an actual program. Seriously. They would have regional tryouts. Each person would get a computer and an hour or 2 to make their case. And no, they could not bring cell phones or anything else with them. This would also include mandatory sections in the top 15 issues. Each paper would be identified by a number, so nobody reading or judging these papers would know who wrote them. Judge them entirely on the merits. When you get down to about 8 candidates, they would have 3 debates, all answering the same questions. On primary day, voters would get ballots for their party, and if they want, the independent ballots as well. As I said before, they should be able to vote for however many candidates they want. That is the only way you will know which candidate has the most support. Finally, in the general election, we will have more than 2 serious candidates running. Under current practices, we allow people to win without getting more than 50% of the votes. That is wrong. There's the thing called the spoiler effect. Independent candidates will draw votes usually from one party, and that usually then gives the election to the other party. Voters need a way to cast a second choice vote, meaning I would prefer candidate C, the outside candidate, but if he loses, my vote should go to the candidate I choose second. Currently, these outside candidates are discouraged from running for this very reason. They skew the elections. We need to fix that and break the two-party system. And this is the only way to do that. Ranked choice voting was created for this very issue. That works best in general elections with independent candidates competing against party candidates. But ranked choice voting proponents now often also want nonpartisan primaries and elections. But that is a mistake. The single most important piece of information you need on a candidate is their party alignment. And nonpartisan elections often ignore or minimize that. Most elections focus on only one or two issues, while a politician will vote on hundreds of different things while in office. Most often, the party will vote together. No politician should be separated from their party alignment. As for voting itself, all ballots must be in by the time the polls close on election day. No ballots shall be accepted once the counting has begun. Only paper ballots shall be used. That is the only way that recounts can be done and verified. We now have tens of millions of citizens of other countries living in our country. They should not be voting in our elections. We need to ensure that. We allow 18-year-olds to vote, yet they can't legally smoke, drink, gamble, buy drugs, get tattoos, and other things. The only reason we allow them to vote is that we were in a war and drafting them to fight in it. Those days are long gone. People still in school and not paying their own bills should not vote. What does a person know about inflation if they're not buying their own things? Any 18-year-old who is in the military, married, a parent, living on their own, or having a full-time job may vote. Personally, I would prefer 21, the same legal age for a lot of other things. We can do better in a presidential elections. This is my plan. Is there a better one?